Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be introducing you to 4 words that are going to help you in your self-coaching practice to get you doing the things that maybe you think you're a little too afraid to do. So these 4 little words are really simple. What would that mean? And these 4 words have made a huge difference in helping me overcome and acknowledging and excavating beliefs and limitations that I've set on myself when I realize that the thing I think I'm afraid of isn't the thing that I'm afraid of, and what to do with that information when it comes up. And so just the other day, I worked through some people with this on a live, and it is so powerful. I think the hardest part of doing this as a self-coaching practice is sitting in the discomfort of letting your subconscious speak to you. And so let me give you an example of how this works. So let's imagine that you are afraid of something, or you've been procrastinating something. This is a good example. I personally caught myself in this and had to work through it. So I noticed that I would have to launch my course, which was going to be a new course that I was putting out. It was done in a way that a lot of people hadn't done it. It was the Empowerment for Everybody course, which is coming up again, by the way. So click the link below if you're interested in it. But when I first went to launch it, I noticed as I was getting closer to the date I set for myself to launch, I was procrastinating like heck. I was overwhelming myself. I was putting off simple tasks. There was a soundtrack that wasn't helpful. And the fear that came up for me, and I'm going to write this down because this is how I did it then. So this way I can show you. So what I wrote down was the thought that I was having. Nobody's going to sign up. This is my fear. Going to sign up. Okay, so we write that out. That's your top. That's you. This is you in the present having the thought. Hold on, wait for it. Nobody's going to sign up. Can you see that? I don't know what it's trying to focus on. There we go. Come on, come on. Either way, you get the point. Nobody's going to sign up. We're going to say that's Terry in the present is like, ah. So then I imagine if somebody came to me and I was coaching them, what would I say back to them if they said that? So I said, nobody's going to sign up. Coach Terry says, what would that mean? Okay. So then that kind of already stops your thought. But I write this out. What would that mean? And this is important to do this process. Wait for it. Dude, what would that mean? So I write it out like I'm having this conversation with myself, and it makes a huge difference. So, okay, nobody's going to sign up. What would that mean if nobody signed up? That means my course is dumb. No, my course isn't good enough. So that becomes the next line. That means my course isn't good enough. Okay. So then Coach Terry says, what would that mean? So what would it mean if my course wasn't good enough? That means I'm not a good business owner. Or I'm not a good educator. Though to me, what first came up for me is that means I'm not a good business owner, because I know the course content's good, but if nobody signs up, they don't know what the course is, where my block is around the marketing. So that's a business person is good at marketing. So that's why that came up first. That means I'm not a good business person because I'm good at creating the content. I have confidence over there. But where it seems the belief is that I'm not a good business owner. Okay, so then what would that mean? So you can see Coach Terry doesn't really do much. She just asks one question over and over and over. If I'm not a good business owner, what would that mean? That means I'm going to fail. And writing it out makes it very real. Okay, So this is what we got so far. So you can see my conversation to myself happening. That means I'm going to fail. Okay, and what would that mean if I failed? That means I'm going to be poor. So this is, now we're getting into the actual fear. You can see the fear isn't that nobody's going to sign up. The actual fear is way deeper than that. To be penniless. Okay, so let's imagine if I was penniless, what would that mean? So we keep going. People will think I'm a freeloader. And now, this is the best part. That word, whose word is that? I don't think I've ever called anybody a freeloader. But you know who used to call people freeloaders? My dad. So now, people will think I'm a freeloader. So what would that mean if people thought that? They won't like me. So we keep going. Oh, Jesus. So then we keep going. I'm already done one page. What would that mean? If people think I'm a freeloader, that means they won't like me. I'm unlikable. And what would that mean? And we keep going. That means I'd be alone. And that, my friend, is the point. Because once you can get your brain to acknowledge that you're not afraid nobody's going to sign up for your course. In fact, you're actually afraid that you're going to be alone. Our brain is hardwired to need to belong, to need to fit in, to be loved for survival. And so the part of me that's creating all these other excuses is actually just a little version of me that wants to be loved, maybe by her dad, maybe by just anybody, because if she's not loved, then she will die. And this is where I always say our brains are dramatic little bitches. Because for the most part, all of our fears can boil down to this. But it's not as simple as knowing that. Writing it out makes it more objective. So now that I see this, I can come up with a coaching mechanism. So I've used the what would that mean, which is the best question in the whole world. Also, you can also use this on your kids. Use this on anybody else that says, I'm afraid of this. Say, what would that mean if that did happen? Because it stops them and it makes them have to think about it instead of just sitting in it. Just sitting in that thought. Okay, so now once I get to that means I'd be alone. Now I can start asking more questions. Like, do I really think that's true? If for some reason I was penniless and had no money coming in, do I truly think that I would be unlovable? No. On a conscious level, I can now say to myself, I am loved unconditionally. Despite how much money I have. Because the thing is, for me, I don't, even just looking at this, I don't think it's about money. I think it's about work ethic. That the word freeloader keeps coming up for me. And that is definitely something growing up on a farm that I learned to tie my validation to my productivity. And so if somebody perceives me as a freeloader, that means they perceive me not to be hardworking. And if I'm not hardworking, my little brain says, oh, my dad's not going to like me if I don't work hard. And all of a sudden, I'm afraid of being alone. And none of that has anything to do with that top thought. Nobody's going to sign up. Yeah, well, it does have to do with that, obviously, but that's not the problem. They're two very different issues. And so now that I've figured out kind of what the actual issue is, I can say, listen, I'm loved. Even if I wasn't working, I'm loved. I deserve unconditional love. Even if I make no money, I can work backwards and reaffirm these things that I'm actually afraid of. And now I can have clarity to come back to that very first thought and say, okay, I now realize that it's possible some people may not sign up, but some people might. Or, well, great question to ask, what is a thought I can have that will help me get the outcome that I want? And this brings us to the next phase of this thought process. So the next phase, after we've coached ourselves to figure it out, now we go back to that first thing. Nobody's going to sign up. What is the outcome that's going to happen if I believe that? Nobody's going to sign up. I'm going to be less likely to talk about my course. I'm going to be less likely to promote it or do a launch sequence or tell people about it. And guess what? If people don't hear about it, can they sign up for it? No. So I've just created a self-fulfilling prophecy. So now I want to go in and ask myself the question, what is a thought I could have that's going to help me get excited about the launch? Get excited about this. Well, first of all, why wouldn't people want to sign up? This course is awesome. It changed my life. This process that I'm taking people through changed my life, and it can change theirs as well. Getting people in alignment with who they are is something I'm so passionate about that energy is effervescent. Like, there's so many new thoughts that now I'm excited to tell people about what this course can do for them. And all of a sudden the outcome has changed. But all of that came about because what am I making it mean, or what does that mean if that were to happen? So that is my 4-word self-coaching method that makes a huge difference. And writing it out makes it so much easier to look at and listen to the thoughts that come up. And don't judge it. Like I said, the first time I wrote this out, the word freeloader didn't come up. Like when I did this 4 years ago when I first launched the Empowerment for Everybody course, the word freeloader never came up. That wasn't the fear then. It was something else. This is a new one that's come up, or that's lingering there, that I'm somehow believing because of this phase of my life. And so this was really great for me to work through, to recognize, like, no, even if I wasn't working, I'm still worthy of love, and I'm still worthy of respect and dignity and all of these things. It doesn't make me less of a valuable human to not be working so much. Because again, my whole life has been tying my productivity or my value to my productivity. And this is something I'm untangling. So no wonder that came up. And now this gives me an opportunity to kind of use that visualization technique that I shared a few weeks ago. I'll link it above here. You can go test out the visualization, and I could sit with that version of me that thinks she's unlovable if she's being lazy or a freeloader. So yeah. So anyways, give this a go. Let me know how it works for you. Usually I will say, let me see how many times I wrote it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Usually I will write it 7 times. 7 seems to be the magic number because there will be one point where your brain's like, I don't know. That's when you know you're about to crack it. So don't distract yourself. Sit in that discomfort and let your brain go there. Last but not least, if you are teaching this to somebody else, if you are using this method on somebody else, it's a great way to ask a question and just hold space, but don't answer it for them. You have to sit in that discomfort of silence, because then they will talk and you'll watch their body language change as they do it. But it's a really great way to get people to understand what they're actually afraid of. But try it on yourself first. Think about things that you're afraid of or thoughts that are coming up for you. It can literally be about anything. So if you're having negative body thoughts, doing self-portraits is a great way. This is what brought this to mind. I was doing self-portraits and somebody said, well, I'm afraid to take photos of myself because I might look bigger in my photos. Okay, so what does it mean if you look bigger in your photos? Right? And now all of a sudden we go down the same pathway. Or I'm afraid that I'll look older in my photos. Okay, what does that mean? What would that mean if you did? You know, because the reality is you might. The reality is people might not sign up for my course. But what does that mean? What am I making it mean if that was the case? Right? It's about going to that extreme and saying like, okay, if that happened, then what? Right? So again, the 4 words, what would that mean? So use that. Let me know how it goes for you. If you have any questions or you get stuck along the way, please let me know in the comment section below and I can help you out. But this has been one of the most life-changing methods for me. And yeah, it makes a huge difference to realize, oh, I'm not... The reason I think I don't like something or I'm afraid of something or I'm procrastinating something is not the reason I thought it was. So yeah, let me know how it goes, and that's about it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!